DTF podcast, Down to Fitness, where we turn personal trainers into fitness professionals. We're your hosts, Dayton McPherson and Kyle Radune. Welcome back, Fit Fam, to the DTF podcast. Do you want to start making more money? That's what this episode is all about. Kyle's eyes just lit up when I said that. Everybody wants to make more money. We'll be talking about rates, when to raise your rates in the fitness industry, whether you're just starting, been doing it for the last 10 years, 20 years. We're going to have a conversation today about when to jack up those prices because you're in high demand. You want to make more money. So let's get into it. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? Because I do this for money. I don't do this shit for free. I love what I do, but I do it for money.
Right. I do it because I can make some money doing it too.
Don't tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. So
yeah, we did it to help people, but we also did it to help our bank accounts.
And well, hey, if my bank account's empty, I can't help anybody.
Right.
So
exactly.
I better be taken care of.
Yeah. So Kyle, you do raise your rates, right? As do I. Okay.
Of course.
In the industry, I do hear this quite a bit that coaches, they get to a point and they're like, well, my clients won't pay more if I charge more. And I'm like, okay, so you go get more new clients that will. It's okay to raise your rates. You can't just sit there for 5, 6, 7 years at the same exact rates. You got to bump them up every so often. So let's jump into that. Kyle, how often are you raising your rates?
So I know we probably have two different ways to look at this because we have two different business models. So we definitely touch on those. For me, as a studio owner, if I'm the only trainer in a small space, I know I only have so many hours to give. So for me, when I first started, I just picked my normal, reasonable rate. I was trying to grow. So I actually, looking back, I probably undercut myself about $5, $10.
Okay.
Built my book up. And now that I'm so busy within my first year of business, I'm starting to get to the point where I can't sign up a new client because they can't do those weird times, or I'm already booked on Fridays and they're not available on Fridays or something like that. So then I have to start looking at my business and say, I'm capped out. If I'm making $100,000 and I'm working 30 hours a week, there's only two options. I can either work more hours to make more money, or I can work the same amount of hours and raise my rates. And the way I look at it is, for me, I don't want to do more than 30 hours of personal training a week. We know how many hours it takes to write their programs, take care of them, do check-ins, yada, yada, yada. So I'm looking at a 40 to 50 hour work week anyways. So for me, I'm capped. Okay. So now how do I bump that up? If I'm making 100 grand right now and I want to make 120 grand, well, I'm taking my 120 grand, dividing it by how many sessions I'm doing, and that's my new rate. It's not really based on my new certification I got. We just did an episode on how much I don't care about that anyways. So, you didn't increase your value by getting a TRX certification. You did increase your value by working and experience for the last year. So even if you've done nothing else but worked full-time for 1 year, you have progressed as a trainer and you have improved your experience and your ability to, gain those results. So if we're just on nothing else, just time working with people, I got to raise my rates probably year over year. And then of course the other, the economic stuff that you can talk about. If we're talking the last 3 years, well, the inflation through COVID is just stupid. You're going to the grocery store and you're paying double what you used to, and you don't want to raise your rates $5 a training session. Let's pay attention to what's going on around us as well.
So you're doing your rate increase based on demand and experience, not
and what I want for my salary
and what you want for your salary. I love that though. I'm the same. So, with my position with being in more the corporate side of the gym, I did have to decrease my personal training volume to, 10, 15 a week, mostly in the mornings, a couple later on at night. So as I started getting rid of people, the people that I kept, I bumped their rates up anywhere between $5 and $10 And I was just honest with them. Listen, I have to make the same amount of money that I was making before. You are now working with the assistant vice president of fitness. I'm not a personal trainer. If you want to keep working with me, great. Here's what your new rate is. If you don't want to keep working with me, that's fine. I can find another coach to work with you. And everybody said that that was fine. The rate increase was perfectly okay.
Who doesn't want to work with a VP?
I don't know. So yeah, I will increase my rates as well. So let's talk about more on the corporate side. If you work in a big box gym, typically those gyms should be increasing their prices, whether or not it be yearly or bi-yearly. In my instance, it's bi-yearly, anywhere between $1 to $2 per session, usually $1 for 30-minute sessions, and then $2 for 60-minute sessions. So each 2 years, we tack that on to the programs, and then individual coaches, they are responsible for their own tier increases and their own pay. So what that means is we have set up certain parameters. If you want to charge more, you have to do X, Y, and Z. So for us, in order to go from a tier 1 to a tier 2, you must be working minimally 20 hours per week of personal training. You must have your CPT, a specialty certification. You must complete Health Tracks University, which is our workshop for new personal trainers. And you also have to get 3 CEUs on Club Connect. Once you do all of that, then you write a letter to me saying why you think that you are deserving of this tier promotion. If everything's good, you got all that stuff, boom, you can start charging those new rates. Some people, it doesn't matter if they've been in the role for a year or 5 years. As long as you hit those parameters, you can bump your rates up and you can move to that next tier, start earning more money for yourselves. And I always encourage it when we do our quarterly reviews and our monthly goal settings as well. I'll start talking to people. Hey, you've been at this rate for the last 2 years. What are you going to do to move on to the next thing? You got to start 3 more sessions a week. You got to start working on those higher pieces of education, and then we can have that conversation. And for the most part, coaches are just afraid. They're afraid to raise their rates. And what does that say to me? You don't see the value in yourself as a coach. It has nothing to do with your clients. It's about you. You're not seeing that value.
I couldn't agree more. For some reason, trainers, and that's why I opened up with the joke about I don't do this for anything other than my bank account. And obviously that's not true. I do care about people. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. But we are so scared to get what we deserve that it's like you can't pour from an empty cup. Every trainer has talked to that client about, I know you're busy and you have 2 kids. I know you're a single parent. And we've had these conversations where we say, you have to take care of yourself first, because you can't take care of your family if you are broken down, beaten up, right? So you as the trainer, if you truly want to help a lot of people, you need to make sure that you're taken care of first so that you can help other people. It's the putting the mask on the airplane first, right? It's what good am I if I'm running around helping people out and then I die? Like that, there's no benefit there. So take care of yourself first. Understand that when you're taken care of, you provide a better service and you can help people better. And when you hold back, maybe you do have that one stingy client, they don't see the value in you. And that's probably that little voice in the back of your head being like, oh, I don't want to raise my rates because I might lose someone. And this is where I kind of remind people is, one, do the math. If you raise the rates on 15 clients, or say 25 hours of training a week, and you lose 5 hours of training a week, if you're making the same amount of money on less hours, you have free time to build your book higher. You have free time for maybe to play with your kids or do something on the weekend if you just wanted to make the same amount of money and work less. Keep in mind, that's a raise too. So, time is money. So having that balance and understanding what you need, I think is super important here. And that helps give you that confidence to come out and be like, hey, this is what we're going to do.
Right. You'll avoid that burnout, because like you said, if you are doing out the math, you're earning the same amount. Well, then you have the opportunity over the next couple of weeks to find people that will pay for that new rate, who will appreciate your value. Why do you want someone in your book, anyways, that isn't going to appreciate your value? My rates are high. They're actually, in my opinion, lower than they should be. I should be charging upwards of $150 to $200 per hour. Okay. And if people don't want to pay that, fine. I'll go find somebody else that will, because there's a big pool of people that will, and they'll value what I have to give them for my services. So yeah, you're going to have more time, and time is money. You can use those extra 5 hours of losing people to go find someone that will pay for that. And again, coaches don't think about that. Oh, I'm raising my rates for 15 of the 20. I'm going to lose 5. You're still making the same amount of money. Go find those couple of people that are going to start paying that.
Yep. And now you go find one new client, and then all that money is on top of what you used to make. Right. So that's a big raise.
Right.
At the higher rate. Right.
Yep.
So it's a big chunk of money to add to it.
So when you're raising your rates, Kyle, I know that you said you took how much you want to make overall and divide it by how many people that you're seeing.
Yep.
So for you, it's not like every year or every 2 years that it's a flat $5, $10. It's literally an equation that you do for yourself. Yep. And you say,
so because I'm an independent entrepreneur, I'm basically making business decisions based on the quality and, standing of my business at that given moment. And then I look at the personal quality of life, because I spent years in the big box gyms and working for other people. And I didn't want to say this before, but you were talking about all the steps to give yourself a raise, take the courses, do the online thing, write the letter. And the whole time I was like, man, it feels good to work for myself. Because I just, so for me, got engaged. I'm getting married this year, starting a family. I know that I financially have to step up my game. I know I have stepped my game up as a fitness professional. So guess what? My clients, who also have been with me throughout my own personal journey, they see this. They understand that I want to bring a child into this world. I want to get married. I want to do these things. I want to have a family. And if you're telling me that your client won't pay a few extra dollars a session because you're going to bring a child in this world and you're looking to make sure that you have enough money for diapers and food, and they say, nah, you're not worth it. Well, I don't want them in my business.
Right.
So there's a little of that give and take too, right? So it's like, now I may not wait a year. This year I waited 9 months because now I know in 9 months from now, maybe I do have some big changes. If I had, if I was getting married a few months ago, maybe I would have been having this evaluation a few months ago. So it was life events that struck me to be like, ooh, let's reevaluate the health of my business. And if you are a business owner and you don't know what your business is like every quarter and where you stand and your P&Ls and stuff like that, then, and we can get into what it takes to really be a business owner. But you can even have those numbers and understanding of those numbers when you work for somebody else too. So this isn't specifically a studio thing, but it is, if you're the boss, the owner, the only one that does these things, you better understand your numbers and where you're at.
Right. So we understand those numbers. We understand where we're at. We want to raise our rates. How do we go about conveying that to our clients? Is it an email, a phone conversation, a letter? What do you typically do?
So typically, it always ends up looking different for me, because every time I do it, I go back and I'm like, oh, I should have done this differently. But back in the day, I would usually use a rate increase to also come up with some extra funds. So as a business owner, I like EFT because every month I know this, how much money is coming in. These are my bills. Okay, good. Business is in the black. I get it. But if you want to buy a new piece of equipment, or you want to make upgrades, and they cost $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 worth of stuff, and your average monthly EFT is $600, $700, it's hard to come up with a little extra cash to do renovations. So for me, when I would do a rate increase, when it came time, I also paired that with some kind of renovation or new piece of equipment. Because what I would do is I would say, listen, I'm raising my rates, but you can buy as many sessions in full, up to, I think, like a year or something, as you want at my old rate. And what I would do is those few people that spent that big chunk of cash, like, oh, I bought the next 6 months or 8 months of training up in full. Now they just handed me $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in cash. I'm going to take that one client that paid in full ahead of time. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to buy something for $2,000, $3,000, upgrade my gym. And now when I sent my letter out that had my rate increase, all of my clients now are seeing upgrades and all this stuff. And like, okay, my money's going towards improving the quality of my training session.
Right.
Period. So I kind of went on for a little side tangent there. To me, it's a letter. It's, hey guys, at the end of summer 2023, my rates are going up to XYZ. Between now and August 31st, I am offering the old rate, as many sessions as you want until, this time next year, blah, 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 blah. We'll talk to you in your training session. That's like a letter. It's an email. And I'm also telling them in person when I see them. So I kind of cover all my bases, and I'm telling them 6 to 8 weeks in advance. I am not walking in and being like, oh, by the way, starting Monday, we raised your rates about 20%.
Right. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. So that's typically what I will do as well, Kyle. I'll do a letter. So header, I'll write their name at the top, sign the bottom, all that good stuff. But the bulk of the letter is I start off just by thanking them for all their hard work. I mention to them why I enjoy working with them, all the progress that they've seen over the last couple of months, years, what they've accomplished. I'll set the baseline for the increase and give specific reasons why we are increasing. Like Kyle had mentioned, maybe it's going to be upgrades at your facility. Is it because of my higher education? Is it because of my experience, my demand? What is the reason for this rate increase? Don't just say because you want to make more money, even though we kind of do. But what are you going to do?
That stays in here.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And then from there, I'll say this new rate for new clients is going to be blank. So maybe it's $100 an hour, whatever that it might be for yourself. And then what I'll do after that is I'll say, as a courtesy to you, what I'm going to end up doing is you'll have the next 2 to 3 months at your current rate. If you choose to do a larger program paid in full, you can keep that old rate until you use all of those sessions up. Then you will move into the new rate after that. Give them some time to understand how long they have until that rate increase goes up. Not like Kyle said, Monday, you're paying another $10 an hour.
Oh, I notice your billing date is tomorrow. So tomorrow, when it gets charged, don't be alarmed. But I added an extra $150 to your billing every month. You want
not good customer service at all.
See ya.
So the letter that I'm talking about, Kyle and I actually have that letter. And, if anybody wants it, go ahead and reach out to us in a DM. It's set up in a template. You just put your name, why the rate increase is there, all that good stuff. And then after I give them the letter, I will say to them, if you want to further have a conversation about this rate increase, please feel free to let me know or talk to my manager. If you're the manager or owner, they'll talk to you anyways. And after that, I always put a little disclaimer at the bottom. If you choose to not continue working with me due to this rate increase, I would be more than happy to introduce you to another coach or personal trainer who can still continue to help reach your goals.
Yeah, I love that, because we don't want to kick people to the curb and be like, well, you're done with fitness forever now.
No.
Right? It's like, we still want you in the industry.
Right.
You're just going to work with someone that's more geared towards your budget.
Correct. Yep.
So now originally, I think we talked about the letter. We weren't going to break it down too much, but I'm starting to think, do you want to talk about some of the aspects of the letter? So see if people are interested in it. Because as I'm reading it while you were talking, I was like, there's some goodies in here. Because I didn't write this one. This is not the one we wrote.
Right.
So this is actually the first time I'm reading this letter.
Yeah. So the first part just says, I'd like to thank you for coming in and allowing me to be part of your fitness journey over the last blank, blank, blank time. You always make a great and consistent effort in your fitness. And I know it can be challenging for your busy schedule, whatever that it might be honest. You're not just saying the same thing to every single person. You want to make sure that it's personalized towards them. And then say, over the course of these last couple of years, we've been able to build strength in your low back, lose weight. Again, It's specific to them. And then I say, I look forward to still continuing you on your fitness journey to reach your goals over the next months, years, so on and so forth. Then I'll talk about, as a personal trainer, I always feel as though I need to educate myself, sharpen my talent, sharpen my skills, and I'll always be able to provide my clients with that skill set, great experience. Then I'll start talking about the rate increase. As of this date, my hourly rate will be going to blank. Let's just call it $100 to make it easy. This rate increase is due to the completion of my corrective exercise certification. This increase is due to my recent promotion as Assistant Vice President of Fitness. I won't be able to train as many people as I would like to. I am in higher demand due to my craft and my capacity of my schedule. The rate adjustment has already been put into effect for new clients, but will not go into effect for you until September, let's call it. I hope and expect to continue working with you in your pursuit of wellness. However, I'll assist you with any changes that you may wish to make with continuing here at our personal training gym. And that's pretty much it.
It's great.
I mean, there are some other things in that letter, but that's basically the meat of it. Make it very, very personalized. Please, 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 please don't just pause this episode and write that down. And then that's all that you're going to say to people. Make it personalized. It is personal training. Don't want to lie to people. We want to, let them know we're still going to be there for them. You've seen such great success because of this rate increase in whatever capacity that might be, Kyle getting new equipment or me increasing my education. I'm going to be able to provide you with a better experience because of this rate increase. It's not just I'm increasing my rates because Dayton wants to make more money. He does, but I'm giving you something because of the rate increase. That's key.
And again, it's the why. It's right. Not that Dayton wants more money, or it's that he has earned more money for XYZ.
Correct. Exactly.
All right.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I think it's a heavy topic, but there's not a lot to it. I think we touched on all the important parts: how to do it, why to do it, when, the importance of it. And I do think we touched on all the ways to make it a seamless transition for the client. So I'm good there.
Yeah, I'm good too. Like you said, important topic, not a lot to it. Just do it. Just increase your rates. Take that leap. I promise you it'll work out.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week.